He said, wow, no one has ever bought me a milkshake. I said, that's probably true. Have a nice day. Then I buzzed up the window and we drove away. When I looked in the rearview mirror, there he was, holding that milkshake, a big surprised smile on his face. Now, what did that cost me? Only $2. Hey, I've enjoyed and shared the memory of that experience 100 times for just $2. Remember, it's not the amount that counts, it's the style. That same day, I guess I was feeling extra creative. When my lady and I got to Carmel, I drove straight to the flower shop. We walked inside and I said to the florist, I need a long stem red rose for my lady to carry while we go shopping around Carmel. She was some impressed. The florist said, well, we sell them by the dozen. I said, I don't need a dozen. I just need one. He said, that'll cost you a couple of dollars for just one. I said, wonderful. There's nothing worse than a cheap rose. I selected the rose, handed it to my lady, and said, here, carry this while we stroll around town. She was impressed. And the cost? $2. Just $2. A couple of hours later, we were having some refreshments, and my lady looked across the table and said, Jim, I just thought of something. I said, what's that? She said, I think I'm the only lady in Carmel today carrying a rose. I said, that's probably true. For $2. Can you imagine? $2. Remember, it's not the amount. Hey, just 2 ideas and a total cost of $4 for unique experiences and sweet memory. Just 2 modest examples of how easy it is to put style in your life. Make sure you don't miss out. Don't miss anything you can enjoy. Be sure you live your life in style. Here's something else to think about. Did you ever hear where the expression tip came from? As in tipping the waiter or waitress in a restaurant. Mr. Schoaf taught me that it began as a symbol for the phrase, to ensure promptness. Now, Schoaf said, if a tip is to ensure promptness, when should you give it? Answer, up front. See, I didn't know that. I said, no, you have lunch, and if you get good service, you leave a good tip. If you get lousy service, no tip. And he said to me, no, Mr. Rohn. Sophisticated people don't take a chance on good service. They ensure good service by giving the money up front. I said, wow, what a way to live. I had never thought of that. So the next time you have someone special to take to lunch, call the waitress over, arm around the shoulders, and say, here's $5. Would you take good care of me and my friend? Schoaf said you won't believe what happened. They do what's known as hover. They hover around your table. Without the insurance, you are usually looking around saying, where is my waitress? Has she gone on a break? Same money, different style. One last major point. Life in style is also life in balance. Make sure you pay attention to all the values and dimensions of your life. One is family. If you have someone you care about, there is no value to match that. One person caring for another is life in the best of style and value. Protect it with a vengeance. If a chair gets in the way, I suggest you destroy the chair.
About the difference that it can make in our lives. I guarantee if you go to any rundown neighborhood and interview the people there, evaluate their lifestyles and what they're doing and what they're contributing to life, and then go in a wealthy neighborhood and talk to those people and evaluate them and check out what they're doing with their energy and their time and what they're contributing to life. Here's what you're going to discover what Earl Nightingale said. He said, our success in life is directly related to the quantity and the quality of the service that we give. I guarantee you that you will find that people who have more, people that are living the abundant life, are the contributors to life, ladies and gentlemen. They are the people that are giving more, and the people who are operating out of scarcity and poverty consciousness, these are the people that are down and out. These are the people that are complaining. These are the people that are blaming the world and everybody for where they are. But if they took that same energy and begin to invest and give something back to life. I was in New Jersey, and I had to give a political presentation to a group there that were trying to organize a community to begin to revitalize that particular community. And the guy was telling me very proudly as we were walking through a housing project, he said, the city is about to give $55 million to renovate these housing projects. I said, what a waste. He said, why would you say that? I said, let me ask you something. And the person that was standing next to him, I said, do you live in this building here? He said, yes. I said, how many families live here? He said, 6 families. I said, we walked in the door and we can smell the stench of urine. Does it take a genius to go down to the store and perhaps sacrifice buying 3 packs of cigarettes and buy some tired of soap and water and come back here and wash this stench out of here? Does it take a genius to get a can of paint and paint over the graffiti and repair the mailbox? Does it take a genius for that? I say to you, you pour the money living in these housing projects and you don't change the people that are living in the projects before you are completed, they'll be right back to where they were before. If it is to stand, and I'm not saying that there aren't situations where people need some help and assistance, but people must be allowed to contribute. I say they should pay for the paint. I say they should pay for the mailboxes to be repaired and the windows to be broken. And I guarantee you, if the children go outside throwing a ball, they say, don't you hit that window, you fool. You know how much I paid for that window? Makes a difference. People need to be given the opportunity to contribute and invest in life. And then life is appreciated. But if we just give, and you don't want to just give, you want to give to people who are out there struggling and making it and trying to make impact on the universe. I'd rather give to a man who's already doing it than somebody over here doing nothing and try and go over there. Man, why don't you get up and do something? Hey, listen, if you have to go over there and get them up, you'll have to do that for the rest of your life. So do it with those who are doing it. So you want to keep the flow going by working with people who are contributors to life. Leave the dead people alone that are taking away from life. There's a scripture, when I heard it, I couldn't understand it. I say, how cold? He that hath shall get, and he that hath not, even that he has shall be taken away. I said, now that's not fair. Ladies and gentlemen, that is fair. He that hath what becomes the key. He that hath a generous view of life. He that has courage. He that hath initiative. He that hath resourcefulness shall get. But if you're like the guy that I was in a hotel and asked him, I said, look here. I said, he was a bellman. I said, I need to get my shoes shined. Oh, I don't shine shoes. Oh, how long you been working here? Oh, about 3 months. What were you doing before then? Oh, I just got out of the joint. Yeah? You don't shine shoes. That's beneath you, but it was okay to steal. That's not beneath you, huh?
God knows when, God knows how, God knows what. When the Lord turned again our captivity, when we left off last week, we were weeping. We had hung our harps by the willow trees, and we have wept when we remembered Zion. And we learned how to live off of memories. We were sustainable because we could remember days that were not this tough. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I told her, I said, just late at night, I said, I'm at camp running water. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm at camp running water. She said, what do you mean? I said, I'm 7 years old. I'm at camp running water. And you think I'm here in Dallas, but I'm at camp running water because I was thinking about where I came from. I know how to live off of memories. And all they had is they were drugged, shackled, and chained, bleeding and ostracized and carried down from sweet Jerusalem. Oh, Jerusalem, the city of Salem, peace. They had left the city of peace and gone into the plague of adversity. And not only did they leave, they did not leave up under their own auspices or on their own accord, but they were drugged in chains by the Babylonians into captivity. Last glances looking back, they promised Jerusalem, if I forget thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. There ought to be some things that you refuse to forget. And when they came down to near the river of Euphrates, and there they saw the willow trees, and they hung their harps on the willow trees, and they wept. Jesus wept. All of us weep. There are times you go through a season of mourning, a season of struggle. To be transparent, I've gone through seasons of weeping. Not a few minutes or an hour. Seasons of weeping. Seasons of weeping. I can remember coming into the hospital room with my wife, going up on the elevator to see her mother who was in the hospital, and her mother expired. And with my own 2 hands, I closed mother's eyes. And I watched my wife turn into a ghost, and the room was filled with agony. And as our hearts were racked with pain, we could not believe that somebody so strong, so vibrant, so tough, so full of life, so powerful. My mother-in-law was the kind of woman, you either liked her or you didn't, and she didn't care which one you chose. How could she be gone? It was the first time that death had circled in recent years so close and touched somebody that was a part of our lives. And my wife was devastated. And you know, if you know anything about losing anybody close to you, that's not the kind of thing you shake off in a week or a month. You don't shake that off in 3 months. That devastation continued and continued and continued, and I had to preach with it, and we had to go to church with it, and we had cameras in our face with it. And just when it was starting to ease up a little bit, my mother took sick and got worse and worse and worse, and died with us holding on to her. Gasped her last breath. She was gone. And I wondered, how in the world could I be anointed and used of you and see people heal in my services and you not heal my mother? I remember preaching in this very church, going to the hospital wet and laying my body on top of hers and praying for her. And she still died.
You get one shot at life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So, learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. To take action now to become a better person, filled with knowledge and strength and power and filled with life.
Some of you in this room today, you need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
When you want something bad, you can't count the cost. Because if you count the cost and you see how much it costs, you might quit. You might give up. So you got to go in knowing that I don't count the cost. I do as many push-ups as it takes, as many sit-ups as it takes, as many reps as it takes. I study as long as it takes. I pay whatever the price is.
Every one of my successes is stacked on top of failures. You need to get a revelation today that the joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process. That I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it.
Only those who are willing to risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go.
Failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. Failure is part of the story. It's pushing you forward.
You just do what you got to do on this one. Then you look back when it's all over and you see the reward. You look back and you see the accomplishment. You don't count it. You just look back and you see what you succeeded.
Don't give your territory over to the enemy. Now, in order to have territory, you have to have ownership. And the problem with you is that you might own territory that you don't even realize. That God has given you certain things up under your auspices and up under your authority that you've got to be prepared to fight for. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? And you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting tired. Does anybody know what it's like to be tired? Trying to hold your head up, but you're tired. Trying to be tough, tired. And one by one, they all went to sleep. Not just the foolish. I don't care how smart you are, you still get tired. I don't care how committed you are, you still get tired. I don't care how focused you are, you still get tired. Is there anybody here that can talk to me about tired? I don't mean the kind of tired you get at night. I mean the kind of tired where you wake up tired, go to work tired, eat your lunch tired, answer the phone tired, smiling tired, may I help you? Grinning at people, praise the Lord, and tired, and nobody knows that you are tired. Some of you don't understand why you are so tired right now, but you don't realize you're just counting your workload from what is happening right now. But you have to remember that the oil started burning when you started hoping. It didn't just start when you started doing. It started when you started believing something is about to happen in my life. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to get out of there. And all of a sudden the oil is burning. You have to burn some oil to be able to wait. The Bible says they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount upon wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. You have to be tough to wait. You have to be tough to work all day and go to school at night. You have to be tough to take 2 part-time jobs and put them together and try to make it do. Oh, y'all don't understand what I'm talking about. You have to be tough to start a service in a storefront with 2 members and the bills are higher than you got. You have to be tough. Is there anybody in here that's gone through a tough time in your life and you were waiting on a breakthrough to occur in your life? Yeah. Same place. They all were waiting. They all went to sleep. You couldn't tell who was wise and who was foolish until the cry was made. The thing you've been waiting on is coming. How you react to challenges tells whether you are wise or foolish. And you will never completely be healed or whole until you change the voice inside of your own head.
Most people are governed by their habits, their fears, and the opinions of others. A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them, the low expectations. Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, somebody they believed in, somebody that they loved, someone they trusted said, "You can't do that." And they accepted that. As you look at your life, ask yourself the question, what would your life be like? What would your life look like if you decided not to care what people thought of you? What would your life be like if you decided to give up some of your fears? What would your life be like if you decided to become courageous? What would your life be like? If you decided to act on your dream, if you did what you felt in your heart. You know what courageous means? Tom Ruskin and Randy Reed said. They said that courage comes from a French word which means of the heart. But how does it feel to you? He says it's courage, it takes courage to live. Says most people go through life not allowing themselves to step out because they don't want to let go. They don't want to be blown around. They don't want to be moved. The courage to face life's whirling wind of contradictions. The courage to love yourself. The courage to love. For years, I was afraid to love. The courage to take a chance. The courage to be who you are. He says courage isn't for somebody else, for medals, applause, or moral debts. Courage is what at that moment feels most right for you. Not just situational ethics, but what feels right in your heart, the word of the heart, what feels right in your heart. One great philosopher says, cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. What does that mean? The valiant people aren't afraid? No. It means that they experience that fear and they move forward. They move forward anyhow. Many people are dead now. Many people are allowing their dreams to die. Many people are allowing their ideas to lie dormant and collect dust. Many people have all this talent and ability that they are allowing to be buried inside of them, that they will take with them to their graves because they didn't have the courage to be who they are. And I say, as you begin to look toward the future and manifesting your greatness, it's going to take everything in you, that your life deserves the concentrated effort to begin to look at how is it that I can express more of me? How is it that I can bring my ideas out here now? How is it? And start living with a sense of urgency because you're here today, you're gone today. Life is unpredictable. It's uncertain. There are no guarantees. No guarantees out here at all. So holding back, what are you waiting on? Ask yourself, what's the benefit of your waiting? What's the benefit of your not living your dream? What's the benefit of not listening to yourself? Oh, please, listen to yourself. You know the feelings. If you start listening to the feelings in your heart, and I'm doing it now more every day, I find that my feelings, I can trust them. And I say to you that as you look toward the future, you look at life on a daily basis, if there's something that you have been given, if you've heard something within yourself that you know that what you're doing now doesn't fit for you, it doesn't work for you, it's not giving you what you want, and there's something else that you want to do, don't allow that inner doubt in you to talk you out of it, to build a case on why you can't have it, to tell you why you're not good enough. You ignore that inner voice and all of the external voices Don't judge the possibilities for what you can do based upon the circumstances, because the circumstances won't determine who you are. Don't determine what you're able to do based upon your resources. Don't determine what's possible for you based upon where your life is right now. Where your life is right now is not you. That's just what it is right now. But the possibilities for you are unlimited. If you're in a rebuilding process, it's unlimited. If you're coming back from adversity and devastation, it's unlimited of what you can do. That's the capacity of human beings. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many flops you've had. It doesn't matter how much money you've lost. In fact, I see it only as an investment of what you learn from life. Not losses, but investments of what's possible for you. And I say to you that once you start listening to yourself, and as you begin to act on your dream, as you start just trying to find your way, doing what you can with what you have, you will start seeing things opening up for you. You'll start attracting people. You say, where'd they come from? Things will start coming together, clicking for you. You say, whoa. You start brainstorming. Ideas will come out of nowhere as you focus on it. The key to it is to begin to focus on what it is you want to do. Why, Les? Why is that important? Because as you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you that you haven't even called on yet. See, the powers that we have will never reveal themselves if we don't challenge them, if we don't put ourselves in a position where we have to use them. So one of the most important things, I was reading a book that's a really interesting book called Instant Millionaire, and the guy said, put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. So what is it? How do we handle that whole piece? Throw your whole self into it. See, most people go at it tentatively. They don't give all their stuff. They don't concentrate. They don't put everything they've got in them. One guy wrote a book called All You Can Do Is All You Can Do. And all you can do is enough. But he said, make sure you do all you can do. And if we're honest this evening, we know that we haven't done all we can do. So as we look at the future, we can decide that from this day forward, as I look at my personal relationships, if I look at my professional relationships, if I look at my family relationships, as I look at all the dimensions of my life, looking at myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I'm going to do all I can do to develop me, to bring my talent out here, to make a contribution to life.
People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to discipline. The least lack of discipline, and it starts to erode our psyche.
So the days you don't feel like getting up, just think about them. Somebody tell me in this room, when you think about your siblings, when you think about mom and dad and grandma, when you think about your uncle and aunts, when you think about those coaches, those people who've been there for you, just raise your hand if you said, E.T., sleep is better than that.
Make sure that as an inspiring actor, that it is your gift to act, not your passion. You gotta be careful about pursuing your passion, young people.
Keep it moving, be productive, be powerful, and from the bottom of my heart, conduct your business. This is it. Your journey can be seen millions and millions of miles away in everything that you think. Therefore, you shall be greater than your fears. Be stronger than your doubts, because your mind is very powerful. Stop being sorry and start doing better. Better within you, better than anyone has ever seen, better than your mistakes, better than your failures, better than those that doubted you. Lift yourself up. Stop with the excuses. Stop doing things that you know that is not right doing.
One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit, right? The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best. Sure enough, you say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. One neglect leads to another. The worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value.
Many of you are denied your dream and your goal because you have a consistency versus an intensity problem. Consistency is when you do something. Intensity is how you do something.
You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that now corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay? Let's get kids involved in the least of disciplines. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom and more attitude and more strong feeling, more faith and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it. And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited, you'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life.
And that's why many of you, no matter what you do, no matter how much you do it, no matter who you're looking at, no matter what you read, you gonna be denied because you think that just being consistent at something is gonna let you win. That earns you a right to win. That I'm being denied that corner office. I'm being denied that car. I'm being denied this quality of life. I'm being denied that opportunity, this scholarship. I keep getting cut off the team. You know, if I just keep practicing, I just stay around this team, sooner or later I'll make it. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because consistency does not guarantee you the win. Many of you, as bad as you don't want to accept this, you're never going to win. Because you're not intense enough. And until you get intense to the point that nothing will get in your way, that you will not get in your way, you'll never win.
All the things that will make you better depends on how you think, how you feel, what you do. How you perceive there are going to be times that you're going to want to give up, but you don't have the permission to do so. You must carry on the good fight. What great is in you if you don't believe of your greatness that you possessed inside? What good is your greatness if you don't stand on it? How can you hold on to who you really are? Inside the water may be a little rough. The tide could be coming in, but you got to keep on fighting. You got to keep on.
Just raise your hand and tell me, anybody in the room, sleep is better than them, Eve?
No one's going to do anything for you. Couple rules of being a real leader. You need to take responsibility for your own life. Bringing energy to your team. Leading in recruiting. Leading in leadership. Leading in growth. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe other people everything.
How bad do you want? You want it as bad as breathing? You want it as bad as anything you ever wanted in your life? And if you calibrate it at the highest enough levels, what I found is the people that are the hungriest, they find a way. When you know why you want something, when it's desperation, is something that most people avoid. They think desperation is a weakness.
You should pursue your gift. The Bible says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. It says nothing about your passion. A lot of people pursue their passion and they forget about their God-given gift. Your greatest chance for success lies in pursuing the gift. So make sure you're not pursuing a path. I'm passionate about golf. I love golf. I can't play golf. I love being outside. I love the carts. I love the grass. I love the challenge. I'm not a good golfer. I'm passionate about it. Got the clubs, the clothes, golf simulator, putting green in my backyard. I got sand trap in my backyard. Still can't get out the damn sand.
Swimming this path that you are taking right now, this emptiness that you are feeling, right now it is only a temporary magic, temporary thing that is going on inside of you. Right now it's only temporary. But it is necessary that you struggle, it is necessary that you feel alone, it is necessary that you have to continue to go forward. This is not the time to quit, this is not the time to give up. Even when you think you're weak, you have a way to be strong. Yes, darkness is upon you, but there will come a time. The sun will shine dawn. His coming the sun is going to rise, and you will see the light within you.
And I'm here to tell you, desperation is one of the most powerful emotions you could possibly possess, because when you're desperate, you find reserves and reservoirs of ideas, talents, when you find yourself in a desperate situation. So ironically, the one thing most people avoid in their life hunger, which is caused by being desperate. When you're starving, you become desperate. Think of somebody who's starving on the street. How resourceful would you get if your children were literally starving and you had to feed them, right? So the number one thing we need more than anything to win is hunger, which comes from a state of desperation. Yet we're constantly trying to comfort ourselves in the real world to avoid the state of being desperate.
I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me, probably more talented than you. But like my dad said, the best ability is availability. You might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but you ain't gonna beat me over a year.
I can get out, but I can't put the ball where I want it. So you gotta make sure that you're gifted at it to pursue it. That's first. I can't tell you how many people are in Los Angeles, California, working at restaurants and Best Buys with their headshots. And every time you walk in there, Mr. Harvey, can you take my headshots? I said, what do you do? I'm an actress. What have you acted in? Nothing. I'm an aspiring actress. If you haven't acted in anything, then you're not an actress. You should go on some of these calls looking for tall, beautiful women. And you walk in the casting room and oh my God. Oh my God. The most stunning women you've ever seen. Can't remember a line. So be careful. It's doable, but you have to make sure that it's your gift.
Nothing can stop this because that light has already been there, that light is embedded in you, that light exists in you. The time has come for you to succeed, for you to stand tall, for you to understand that you've got a mission and your mission is not done yet. Every day it's not going to be a good day, but every day is a blessed day. Because you are above the ground, you are walking tall, there is no time for sorrow. Because misery has no place in your life. The mind is a powerful weapon because no matter what's happening, your mind does matter, and if you put the wrong things inside of your mind,
but what we want to do is overcome the emotion, because that's just what's lasting from the event. So you sit a person down, and the moment you sit them down, what do you think the body's going to do? It's going to look for something to recreate that emotion, because that's the person's identity. Are you with me still? Yes. So if I make the person, if I inspire the person to sit there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're noticing that they're hot, and they're irritated, and their stomach is twisting, and all of a sudden it's a group of sensations, a group of feelings that they have called all along frustration. But the different sensations, the moment you name it, it becomes an emotion. But what it is just bodily sensations. It's energy that's stuck in the body. So the body is looking to go back to the past. It's believing it's in the past. Are you with me still? So if the person becomes aware that their body is doing that, and like training an animal, allow the body to feel that emotion and then settle it down into the present moment. When you settle it down into the present moment, the body starts to trust the present moment and move out of the past. And there's a release of energy. Then the body goes, well, wait a second, what's going to happen in the next moment? And it starts doing that. And it starts to try and anticipate the future. And you settle the body back down into the present moment. And every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and your will is getting greater than the program. And all of a sudden, you start to lower the volume to that emotion. And when you begin to break the addiction to that emotion, the side effect of breaking that addiction is called joy. It's called freedom. All of a sudden, the body's saying, I don't want to be tormented anymore. Now, does that mean you shouldn't grieve over things that you lose? Grieving is a biological process. It's neural pruning. It's a death of circuitry. It's a death of emotions. It's the absence, a void of something in your life. And that's important, but in grief, sooner or later, you got to come to a greater understanding about death, a greater understanding about loss, a greater understanding so that you can adapt to those conditions. Every time I sit with someone and they start complaining about their life, and I let them go for a few minutes, and then I go, oh. You know what I say to them? You only complain about your life when it's not working. And the emotion that you're feeling right now is keeping you connected to the past. You never do this when your life is working. And so I don't have a problem with moving through the stages of emotions. But I also know that what a person really wants more than anything else is to be free. People want to be free. And I have witnessed transformation on every culture, on every skin color, every shape, every size, every age. I've witnessed it. And the same radiance that takes place in a person's face, a light behind their eyes, a different physical presentation of their face is eminent, it's real. And that person has worked to overcome themselves. And so it's not that we shouldn't feel emotions, we should feel those emotions and feel them completely. And like a child, get over it though.
And people these days, they say, oh, you gotta let your emotions out. You gotta let your emotions out. If you gotta cry. And I understand where that's coming from. And you can get to a point as a person, if there's something that's really traumatic that's happening and all you do is hold it in. And I've seen guys get destroyed over that because they're not expressing the emotions that they have. Right. But that's at a big level, right? At a daily level, no. Yeah. You don't express those things. You keep them inside. That's why I say it like that. Like I'm being kind of sarcastic, but at the same time I'm being serious.
Yeah.
You know, it's just don't let your emotions out and into the world.
Yeah.
Keep them for yourself. Own them.
Yeah.
Keep them for yourself. Don't share them with other people if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Now, again, people are going to freak out that I'm saying this because bury your emotions. Because that what happens when you when you've got something really traumatic that you bury, then it eats you apart. And I've talked about that. I mean, talking about things that you go through in life and expressing those feelings that you have about them, that's good. Mm-hmm. But what we're talking about is not that. What we're talking about is daily emotions, little ups and downs, little tick marks on your Richter scale. We're not talking about an 8.8 on the Richter scale, right? We're talking about just like little twos.
Yeah.
And when you express those 2s and 3s on the Richter scale out to people, you just look unstable. It's a great point that oftentimes expressing your emotions to the world doesn't improve your situation or your position at all.
Correct.
In fact, I would say that most of the time, expressing your emotions to the world sets you back. And that is why I vote in many cases to stifle your emotions. Keep them in.
Yeah.
Don't let other people see. You put your cards on the table, right? You put your emotional cards on the table. Now you can't gamble anymore. You're not in the game anymore. The person knows what's going on. That you're giving it to them. You're not going to know what I'm thinking. You're going to think everything's cool with me.
Yeah.
We're training jiu-jitsu, right? If I'm getting frustrated and I show that to you, what does that do? You're getting, all of a sudden, you just go level up. You're thinking, oh, I got him. He's frustrated right now. He can't. Oh, I'm working. This is working against him. If I'm just saying the same face all the time, which is what I do primarily, hey, same face all the time. Just, moving the same way. When you do get me, I forget what you say. When you get me to react to something good.
Recognize the urgency.
Yeah, you say, oh, I recognize a little urgency there. And I always go, damn. I don't want him to recognize. I'd rather just have you just pass my guard and you're just there and me just sit there like it's no big deal because it's not. Then me get all panicky.
Yeah.
Where then you level up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with life, right?
Yep.
Every time you express these big emotions to your boss or to your team, you express these big emotions to your team, they see all your cards. Don't let them see all your cards. Is this manipulating? Kind of. Right? This is one of those things where people think, oh, transparency. We hear that all the time these days. Transparency. You got to be transparent. No, actually you don't.
Yeah, not with that.
You don't have to be transparent all the time.
Yeah.
You have to win the game. You know what? Does the football coach go out and hand his playbook to the other football team? No. He's got to win the game.
Yeah, typically no.
And that's not how you win the game. So are we, what we're doing? We're playing chess. It's emotional chess. You're playing with other human beings. You want to win. Now, if you're winning so that I can take advantage of you, so I can manipulate you and get something from you that you don't want to give me, that's bad. And I'm not talking about doing that. But if what I'm doing is keeping my calm so that instead of escalating an argument with you, I'm getting you to see it from my perspective just by remaining calm, that's what we're talking about here.
And what is an emotion? And again, like a thought is an energy entity, an emotion too is an entity that is an energy form. You cannot see it, but you can only see how it manifests in the external world. But an emotion is an energy form that lives in you. It's a little entity. And if you recognize it, then there's an awareness there. Without awareness, often you can easily be run by your emotions. And that means the emotion, whether it be, let's say it could be anger, it could be sadness, could be anxiety, whatever it may be, deep regret, jealousy, envy, whatever it is, the emotion, this energy invades, which at first you might feel in the body, it then rises up into your mind, and then it controls your thinking. So when you feel deeply negative, then or angry, then the emotion rises into your mind, and every thought reflects the emotion that you feel, because the emotion is thinking through you. And the emotion is feeding on your thoughts. So the loop happens, the vicious circle. The emotion creates thought, and the thought amplifies the emotion. So in the case of anger, you get more and more angry. The more you think about it, the more angry you get. Until finally you lash out, completely lost. And of course, if it's a child also experiences that. Sometimes some children have temper tantrums, and or they may other very violent emotions. Some children have learned that the only way they can get attention from their parents is by displaying violent emotions, because otherwise parents don't give them attention. So a child would say, as you know, if you're probably aware of the term I use, pain body. Pain body is the term I use for an accumulation of old emotion that still lives in you. It's unrecognized as emotion. It lives in you as an entity. It's an accumulation of negative emotion, or often goes back to early childhood. An accumulation of negative emotion that hasn't left you, that dwells in your body somewhere. And I call it the pain body. And it's helpful to look at it as a little entity almost, an entity that lives in you, a gremlin.